All righty. Good morning, Travis Heights. We are going to start with a GT update, and it's more of an informational session of how the process and nomination works. This year is a little bit off just because of the pandemic. And so we just want to give some ins and outs. Ms. Julie Underwood is our amazing GT advocate, and so she will be your go-to person to answer any questions you may have. Although the window has closed for GT, we definitely have an ongoing list of students that parents may want to test in the future. But we did want to give parents information on what GT looks like, characteristics of your child if you may want to consider nominating, and what the process looks like. So Ms. Underwood, would you take it away?
Happy to. First, will it automatically spotlight my view, Mr. Haas? Or do I need? Yeah, I don't have the power to do that. So now that I'm speaking, you might want to spotlight my view. Spotlight me.
It allows you to share, and I can spotlight you.
Okay, that would be fantastic. All right, so my goal is to just share a quick overview. I know this will create some questions. If you have any questions, you can either interrupt me during the session and ask them, that's fine with me, or you can message me on Class Dojo or email me at julie.underwood@austinisd.org. I want to give you, while I love reading books to kids, I don't so much love reading PowerPoints to adults. So I won't read it to you. I will just spotlight a few things in my PowerPoint. And of course, questions, contact me. All right, peoples. I've got it down here for you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And of course, it's trying to start us at the end. Whatever. Okay, as you can see, we are focusing on nomination, assessment, and identification. Students sometimes, rarely really, show giftedness in all areas. English language arts, math, science, and social studies. Sometimes a student may show giftedness in all areas or just one area. And these are some extra things that we have noticed that kind of help the adults in their life notice some giftedness that might not show up on paper all the time.
Miss Underwood, I don't know if it's just me, but all I see is Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am. I don't see the PowerPoint.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm sharing it, so that's fantastic.
I think you might just need to reshare it because I think you switched into a different tab, and when you switch into a different tab, it stays on the initial tab.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. I'll go back to that slide just so you can have the visual. First page. Nomination, assessment, identification. Here is the slide I was referring to. Some extra areas that kind of help the adults in their lives draw attention to their giftedness that they don't often see on paper. All right, some gifted and talented characteristics. We've noticed some kids are perfectionist, idealistic. They are often really sensitive, sometimes because they're, immature and are struggling to deal with their feelings. It is often because of their heightened sensitivity to different situations. Most gifted students are asynchronous. They may not be able to guide themselves where you want them to, but if it's a high interest area, it's amazing how far they can take their own learning. Some are mappers. They like to do things sequentially, while others are leapers. Spatial learners make big leaps. Some students we notice are really far ahead of their peers in one subject, one area of giftedness, while really far behind in others, because that's just how their intelligence works. Okay. As you can see, this is the foundation of what we are trying to do during the GT screening process. It starts with either teacher, parent, or Austin ISD nomination. Then we are in the process of assessment now. Then we identify them. Okay, GT screening process. This year, it is only happening during the fall semester because of COVID, late start, etc. We're only doing one screening this year. Usually there's a fall fall screening for 3rd through 5th and a spring screening for kinder through 2nd. I manage the screening process. Okay, GT assessment. Normally, we collect data from teachers. So there's a teacher observation form, a parent observation form, a take-home voice and choice project, and COGAT testing. This year, the one big difference is, in place of the COGAT testing, we are collecting students' other data, including MAP, ISIP, DRA, and STAR scores. We are aware that some of this information isn't available. Some students have moved from other states where this information wasn't collected. Some students have an IEP that enables them to not take these certain tests in certain situations. So we are just trying to adapt with, with the struggles this year and collect the data that we can and assess accordingly. It's definitely unusual this year. Okay, GT identification. After all of the data is collected and evaluated, the decision-making committee gets together and figures out which data we collected enables a student to be identified as either GT, gifted and talented, or TE, talent explorer. Parents will be notified in December if a student is identified as GT, TE, or if they were not identified as any of those things. And also parents will be notified about final placement as well, and provided the tools, the resources to document what they are doing to extend learning in the classroom / virtually. Oh, this is a great point. If a student is not identified as GT or TE, we find that just waiting a year or two and reevaluating them often does a world of good for them. Oh, circling back. There is a score range to be identified as GT, okay? TE, Talent Explorer, is if a student, their score did not enable them to be gifted and talented, yet the score shows promise that there is some sort of emerging intelligence in a certain area, that it's something we can foster in order to help it grow, so that upon reevaluation in the next year or two, they'll probably identify as GT there. So Talent Explorer just means, hey, keep an eye here and offer some additional opportunities so that we can foster a growth that's naturally there. All right, some important dates you need to know. As Michelle said, the window is already closed for this year, but we felt like people should, you know, in the spirit of being really translucent, to kind of let people know what's going on. The GT referral window opened shortly after we returned back to school at the beginning of September. A month later, the parent observation form was due, and that's when the teacher observation forms were passed out. As soon as the parent forms come in, which allows us to collect information on their child, then the teacher observation form goes out and we begin collecting data on them. usually through ECST, looking up their ISIP scores, contacting teachers for DRA scores. We don't yet have all of the MAP scores back. I believe those will be completed November 30th. So we have also moved some of these dates for that reason. The campus decision-making committees were originally arranged by the Gifted and Talented Department to be through the first few weeks of November, but because of the MAP data collection not being finalized until the end of November, we realized these dates will also be pushed back to December. I am currently in the process of collecting and scoring all of the data that I have so that as soon as MAP scores are collected, you know, when teachers are done, let's say they complete November 30th, and if I'm lucky, I get them first few days of December, then I can just plug them into the rest of the data that I've already collected. And hopefully that way I can notify parents in December here, December 10th through 16th. And of course, after break, that's when I would notify teachers. Any students that are identified as GT or TE, their services will begin after the holiday break. So that's why this timeline is, the district has kind of moved this timeline. So the goal being any students that are GT or TE can start having access to their services and modifications. I don't know if that's a funny word around here. So that students can start getting services for a talent that they possess. Okay, here we go. After a student is identified as GT or TE, this is something people always ask me. There are a variety of things that are offered for teachers and parents, okay? GT exemplar lessons, GT SEL lessons, GT choice boards. I'm going to show you something else about this when I'm done with the PowerPoint. Parents will receive notification of the GT, sorry, that's a weird wording. People will receive the GT service summary in the mid-year and end-of-year report card. If a child was just identified and the teacher notified January 6th, then that means that child will only receive the one end-of-year service summary, okay? Also, I hope that you'll remember we have a lot of blended learning options, especially we're really focusing on that right now for all of our virtual learners. So thanks to our software and programs, it allows our GT students individualized pacing and extends according to their ability, where they're ready to go. Not everybody has that. We're kind of ahead of the game on that. Okay, if you have any questions, contact me on Class Dojo or email me, julie.underwood@austinisd.org. What else? Oh, I think you might also be interested. Can you still see my screen, you guys?
Yes, Ms. Underwood.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
We can see your desktop.
I'm sorry?
We can see your desktop.
Fantastic. You're where I want you to be. So as you can see from student identification profiles, this gives you an idea of the way we score and the way it is divided into different categories: language arts, social studies, math, and science, how we are collecting, how different things are weighed, how English learners are allowed a little bit different of a range because of their ability to be tested only in English on these and still indicate intelligence is amazing. And also, I was thinking if we are going to talk about, sorry, I have like 1 million things up. Here we go. I wanted you to see what the GT service summaries look like. They vary grade to grade this year. They have been modified during COGAT, and there is a fall and a spring. So for instance, if you have a first grader you should be expecting your fall GT service summary for your child that looks like this. They should have filled in if they're, in the humanities or the STEM. This is some at school, AKA virtual learning. It's kind of funny. Virtual learning options that they are being offered, and which humanity these offerings fall under. I think that kind of covers everything we need to cover. This was just a quick informational session. Do you have any questions? Anything I didn't cover that you wish you knew?
Thank you, Ms. Underwood.
You're welcome.
And we're going to do a Spanish translation of the GT overview and post it in our next meeting. I'm looking to see, is there anyone at this point in time that does need it translated in Spanish? If so, we can definitely get that to you. But so that we can keep the meeting going. Thank you so much, Ms. Underwood, and thanks for being an amazing GT advocate for our campus. Parents, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. So today joining us is, again, our amazing assistant principal, Mrs. De La Torre. We have Mr. Kent Haas, our Director of Technology and Media. Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Not only is she our fantastic librarian, but she's also our GT advocate. And I am your proud principal of Travis Heights Elementary. And so welcome, parents. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go over our principal update. We've been holding these, I believe, since the beginning of COVID, when this began this semester. And it's just to kind of give parents an opportunity to ask questions, to get updates, and have that face-to-face time that many of us so need at times. So good morning. It's great to see everyone. Thank you for joining our principal meeting update. Another great week at Travis Heights Elementary, no doubt. We're still adjusting to the new normal, but our team has been exceptional in making it work, making everything run as smooth as we can make it. Attendance trends for week 5, we had about 48 students. Week 6, we had 95. Week 7, we had about approximately 127 kids, 125. Week 8, we've jumped to about 135. And for week 9, we've rounded out around anywhere between 147 to 169 kiddos on campus. I know that we did send out a COVID notice. This is a basic description of the event that we can share with you guys. On 11/4, we had a confirmed case of COVID on Travis Heights Elementary, at Travis Heights Elementary. Per the district, we followed the immediate steps. The notice of directly affected containment, cleaning, quarantine. We went into the protocol of making and ensuring that we are maintaining a safe and clean environment. Per the district, we notified all of the community. We're required to quarantine for 2 weeks for anyone that might have had direct potential exposure. Contact tracing procedures were put into place, and the director of our health support in Austin AISD worked with me closely to ensure that we followed and we were able to support the procedures and protocol. Per the campus, we've extended this possible zone to ensure no spread. These remains open to all students. And as we begin the next week of week 10, these will be available for all students who need or want to come face to face. And that means we're basically, again, 100%, but parents still have the opportunity. If they want to remain remote, they can. We still are asking for a 5-day notice so that we can accommodate and ensure that we have the allocated spacing and support that we need to be able to maintain the safety and security of our students. The safety and well-being of all our students are definitely the priority of AISD and Travis Heights Elementary. Families may change their choice by communicating with their teacher. If your child is on campus and would like to learn in a remote setting, that choice can be accommodated at any time. Families can choose to move from off campus to on campus. However, that is a 1 per grading time opportunity where your child is off campus and would like to come back to school. The school will facilitate this transition within 5 school days. Additional requests for transition from off-campus to on-campus will be granted at the start of the next grading period. Some of the ways that we've prepared to include Austin AISD's curriculum was designed to be compatible with an on-campus and remote learning setting. This means students will receive consistent instruction regardless if they are engaged on campus or remote learning. District and campus leadership are working together to determine how to prioritize students for on-campus learning in the event that we are advised to begin limiting the number of students on campus. As a community, we can continue to help to reduce the spread of COVID by consistently wearing masks when in public, frequently washing or sanitizing hands, self-monitoring temperature before coming to school, and staying home whenever possible. Increased spread in the community does not have to mean increased spread in our schools if we remain vigilant. We will continue to closely monitor the effectiveness in limiting the spread at our campus and adjust our plans accordingly. Ms. De La Torre, if you can translate that for me, please.
Yes, I'm on it. Bienvenidos todos, nos da mucho gusto verlos, que están aquí con nosotros. Entonces, esta tendencia de asistencia en Travis Heights, para la semana número 5 tuvimos aproximadamente 48 alumnos asistir a la escuela. Semana número 6 tuvimos 95 estudiantes. Semana número 7 tuvimos aproximadamente 125. Semana número 8 tuvimos aproximadamente 135 y esta semana, lo cual es semana número 9, hemos tenido entre 147 hasta 169 alumnos. Les voy a proveer una descripción del evento que tuvimos esta semana cuando hubo un caso positivo de COVID en Travis Heights. Entonces, una descripción básica es de que el día 4 de noviembre nos informaron que hubo un caso positivo. Seguimos el protocolo del distrito, lo cual es dar notificación a las personas que estuvieron afectadas directamente. Hubo una limpieza, se contuvo el contagio a una área, se ha puesto a las personas afectadas en cuarentena. Con la asistencia del distrito se notificó a toda la comunidad. Otra vez estamos requeridos a estar en 2 semanas de cuarentena. Se hizo el rastreo de contactos. La escuela continúa abierta para los demás estudiantes que necesitan y pueden estar ahí. La próxima semana, que es la semana número 10, empezando con el 9 de noviembre, la escuela sigue abierta al 100%, lo cual los padres que gusten venir, mandar a sus hijos a la escuela lo pueden hacer. Nada más continuamos pidiendo los 5 días de notificación para poder, asegurarnos de que estemos listos para recibir al alumno. La seguridad de todo nuestro personal y estudiantes sigue siendo la prioridad en el distrito. Las familias pueden cambiar de opinión, pueden regresar a casa a aprender remotamente a cualquier punto que lo necesiten. Si gustan venir a la escuela, otra vez son los 5 días de notificación, pero también si gustan regresar a casa a aprender virtualmente, nada más se puede hacer un cambio cada 9 semanas. El currículum que ha sido diseñado a través del distrito es compatible para alumnos que están en casa y están aprendiendo en la escuela. Les pedimos que sigamos trabajando juntos, colaborando juntos para mitigar el contagio de COVID, lavándonos las manos, usando nuestras máscaras. Continuaremos monitoreando nuestros protocolos para mitigar el contagio de COVID-19. Ms. Navarro, I think I'm caught up to where you left off.
Thank you, Ms. De La Torre. So I do want to update you on the daily dashboard updates. As part of our commitment to keeping you informed, the district has made 2 key changes to the district for the COVID-19 dashboard. Data is now available by every AISD campus, central office, and other facilities. The dashboard will now be updated daily instead of weekly. We will also be including this link in our chat. And we will also dojo and include it in our e-weekly folder.
El distrito tiene que en inglés se llama un dashboard, que es básicamente un tablero con información sobre las diferentes escuelas y cómo están en relación a COVID-19. Entonces vamos a poner el link en el chat para que ustedes puedan ir y ver el contagio y cómo están las escuelas con COVID-19.
I do want to, because of the effects of quarantining, we have the pleasure of having a temporary campus principal, Randy Thompson. He will be here with us. He is the former principal at Zilker Elementary. And currently, because of the quarantining, the front office, administration, and the amount of individuals that are having to quarantine, we currently are unavailable to be on campus because we are in the process of being in quarantine. Therefore, the district has given us an administrator. Ms. De La Torre and I are definitely still here at Travis Heights Elementary. We are working remotely, but for the safety and security of our students, an administrator needs to be on campus. So please welcome Mr. Randy Thompson. And Randy, if you want to just share a little bit about yourself, just so our community welcomes you with open arms.
Sure. Am I visible to everyone or just audio?
You're good. We can see you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I was very delighted to get the call yesterday about the possibility of coming to Travis Heights. I actually lived in this neighborhood 2 years back in the 80s and kind of fell in love with the neighborhood and often looked for places where I could return. That didn't happen. So I'm very happy to be here and glad to serve in whatever capacity I'm needed for I think for a couple of weeks, it looks like maybe. So thank you all for letting me be here, and I'll do what I need to do for you. Let me know.
Thank you so much, Randy. Mr. Thompson will be here. We will not be able to return until November 18th. We have to follow the same quarantining guidelines. And so we are going to be a triad, and we're going to be working together to make sure that operations and safety and security measures are running effectively and efficiently. It has taken me a lot to not sit out in my car and be kind of a weird person looking and making sure he's running carefully, but I have to quarantine. So Ms. De La Torre and I are working again remotely from home. However, if there's any questions or any concerns you may have, please feel free to reach out to us.
A consecuencia de lo que ha pasado, nadie estará en la oficina, lo que será la administración y nuestro personal que está enfrente. Así es que tenemos a Mr. Randy Thompson, que será el administrador mientras Ms. Navarro y yo estamos fuera de la escuela. Nosotras tenemos que guardar nuestra cuarentena y regresaremos el 18 de noviembre. Así es que estaremos trabajando juntos para que todo siga manejando bien. Si necesitan algo, como quiera, Ms. Navarro y yo seguimos estando disponibles, nada más que a un poquito más de distancia. Pueden llamarnos, mandarnos un correo electrónico, pero también pueden comunicarse con Mr. Thompson si necesitan algo.
Right, Prospective Tours. We are still moving and grooving, recruiting Thunderbirds. Our numbers are up to 506, 510, so our enrollment has not taken a hit. If anything, Thunderbird is the word, and people are running to Travis Heights to get in on what is going on and happening and grooving in at Travis Heights Elementary. Travis Heights Elementary is a proud community-led in-district charter school. Meeting and hearing from our current families are the best way to share the great news about our school. We have exciting events coming up that we would love for you to invite your families and neighbors and coworkers to attend and learn more at these. However, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we'll have to join and participate virtually through a virtual campus tour through Zoom. No RSVP is needed to attend any of these events, and links will be posted on the THEIS website. Enjoy a cup of coffee, visit with friends and neighbors and school leaders as you learn more and take a virtual tour through the wonderful rolling hills of Travis Heights Elementary. And we're excited to promote and see prospective parents that might be interested in joining the Thunderbird family.
Vamos a continuar con nuestra tradición de tener los parent tours, donde nuestras familias vienen a ver qué es lo que es Travis Heights. Entonces, por la pandemia, este año será un poquito diferente, lo vamos a hacer virtual, pero lo bueno es de que nuestras matriculaciones no han sido impactadas por la pandemia. Continuamos con más de 500 alumnos. Pero vamos a continuar mostrándole a la comunidad lo excelente que es nuestra escuela. Así que si tienen amigos o amigas, otras familias que gustarían conocer más de Travis Heights, los invitamos a que participen en nuestro Parent Tour virtual, que será el 13 de noviembre a las 8 de la mañana.
Thank you, Ms. De La Torre. Brag on your teacher. Rave about someone who has served you well. In Austin ISD, we're committed to building transformational relationships that lead us to a sense of trust and belonging for all. We welcome the opportunity to hear the stories that make AISD feel like home. Please help us recognize our dedicated staff members by submitting a Rave. The Recognizing All Valuable Employees or Rave programs are created to honor those who take the extra steps to provide equitable and exceptional experiences. If you have had an exceptional experience and interacting with an Austin ISD employee, please nominate them as a staff member by completing the form below, and we'll definitely put that in the chat. I will tell you, our teachers have been receiving our Raves and receiving their certificates, and they are super excited, and it makes their day, and I appreciate families and parents taking the time to do that. It means more than you know. And so thank you for doing that and taking the time just to celebrate the amazing work that we have here at Travis Heights.
Los invitamos a que presuman a su maestro. Entonces, lo que es el distrito proporciona la oportunidad para que presuman el gran trabajo que ha mostrado su maestro o su maestra. Esta es una gran oportunidad para que el distrito sepa y los maestros de nuestra escuela sepan que estamos trabajando lo mejor que podemos para asistir y para ayudar a nuestras familias y nuestros alumnos. Es un momento muy agradable cuando nuestras maestras reciben este reconocimiento. Entonces, otra vez los invitamos que a través del distrito vayan y hagan un Rave. Y lo que es otra vez es una manera de presumir el gran trabajo que estamos haciendo en Travis Heights.
Our Cultural Fest, just like our carnival event, we just want to keep as many of our Travis Heights Elementary traditions going, even during this unique time. We will be exploring opportunities where we can all participate in sharing our cultural heritage and holiday cheer. Stay tuned for the announcements as we develop.
Vamos a seguir también con otra tradición, que es nuestro festival cultural. Ahorita estamos a mediación de planear de cómo se va a ver este festival, porque otra vez tiene que ser virtual, pero los invitamos a que estén al tanto del plan que estamos elaborando para poder tener una tradición más a Travis Heights.
Alrighty, please remember we will have our next principal update on Friday, November 13 at 10 a.m. Really quickly from our PSS, a real quick note, Coats for Kids. Some of our students are in need of warm jackets and coats. If you have clean, gently used jackets that you no longer need, please bring them to the school's front door and a staff member will pick them up from you. help us to keep our students warm this winter. If you have any questions, please contact our parent support specialist. I also know that information has gone out to see if there's anyone who is requesting a coat, and we are working with sponsors to see if we can get coats donated. You're more than welcome to also purchase brand new jackets and deliver those, but reach out to Ms. Hustings and to get more information. Thank you for all of your support. Let us know how we can continue to serve you and your children and your family best. We hope to see you soon, and if there's any questions, feel free to.
Let me translate really quick. So, if in Spanish, Ms. La Torre Spanish, si tienen una nota de nuestra especialista de padres, si tienen chaquetas que no están muy dañadas, o si gustan comprar nuevas, abrigos, chaquetas para donar a la escuela, estamos aceptando esas donaciones. También los invitamos la siguiente semana a participar en la actualización de la directora a la misma hora, a las 10 de la mañana, viernes creo que es 13 de noviembre.
All right, well, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so very much for your participation. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. And Mr. Haas, if you can help me navigate.
We did have one question earlier on in the chat, and that was, let me paraphrase it. A concern about the district's report that 34 staff students are currently quarantined due to exposure. Since exposure is defined by the district having been in contact with 15 minutes or less than 6 feet of the person identified, 34 is a lot. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening without posing any FERPA?
Absolutely. So we have pods, and we are trying to make sure that kids are not crossing one another. And so in order to maintain, because of the number of faculty and staff that I have available to me, and to try to ensure the social distancing and adhering to all of the requirements or recommendations, unfortunately, we did not have the space to accommodate all the influx of students that we had. So we had to move to a larger space. And the only other space that was large enough to accommodate the students that were coming in was the cafeteria. Well, in the morning, we were helping to try to support our kids. And there is about 20 plus kiddos in there, ranging in various grades, but we were trying to keep that pod together. And so in the event, when you look at the policy, it talks about potential exposure. And because we had a confirmed case, because there was that potential exposure, because we know that that person had been sick, and we have to go back and look when we do the contact tracing and follow the protocol, that's what ended up concluding that the front office, administration, and that area had to go into quarantine for the safety measures of trying to contain this. And so that's why that number is the number that it is.
It looks like most of the other chat requests regard GT resources, and Ms. Underwood is directing people to various links to provide that. And so if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to unmute and share or put it in the chat. Ms. Underwood, if you wanted to add something, certainly feel free to unmute and do so.
I'm hoping that one of these links works for somebody, or if anybody has additional questions, shoot me an email. I will download attachments, send you whatever you need. I would like for you to, feel like you've got all the information that you need on this.
All right, that's great. Well, if no other questions, then I guess we'll wrap it up for today. Great to see everybody, and always we're here for you if you need us. Ms. Navarro?
All right, thank you guys. Have a great Thunderbird day, Hope to see you real soon.